And I'm going to give you a 5 countdown. You can just start by counting down from 5 to 0 in your head and then start. And in 5.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining this session. My name is Rajkumar Yadav. I am working as a technical consultant. Today, we're going to be discussing on the future of work. So, as a distributor, we interact a lot with our partners and customers, and they always have this point in this post-pandemic world, what exactly the future of work would look like, right? And normally we say it is definitely hybrid, correct? So before we jump into the hybrid work and how Cisco's solution is helping us to achieve that, we need to understand what exactly the hybrid work is. So let's say, since in this post-pandemic world, people have started going back to office. We have an example like, let's say an employee is have working a 5 days a week. So first 2 days he decides to go to office, work from there, and the next 2 days he says, I want to cut down the commute and I want to work from home, right? And maybe on the fifth day he has some meetings with his partners and customers. He may go to their side, he may go to cafe, work from there, interact with them, perform the meeting, and come back home. So this is what exactly the hybrid work is. Sometimes you work from home, sometimes you work from office, and sometimes somewhere in between. That's exactly the future hybrid work is, and the future of work is definitely hybrid. Okay. Now we have the hybrid workplace index from Cisco, which does kind of a lot of researches, and based on that we have some values. So I want to share around 4 to 5 examples based on those workplace hybrid index, and what it says that 77% of the employees gonna embrace a flexible work style. What exactly that means? That means that people are looking for a job which allows them to have a flexible work style, not something always work from office. So this really gonna impact whether they're gonna stay or they're gonna leave the job. And second point, which I would like to discuss, in this new world, around 98% of the meetings gonna have at least one remote attendee. Now, this word remote is something we need to take down out of our vocabulary, because remote is not something just a remote. It's more into a distance location or distributed location where our employees or our knowledge workers would be working, and we need to make sure it is treated as a first class location as we treat our office. Then another point is the conference room, the optimization of the conference room. People are coming back to office. As you know, the meeting rooms were optimized only for in-room experience. We used to hardly have people joining from remote, right? Earlier days. But in this new world, we're gonna have our internal employees, partners, customers joining remotely. Okay, so we need to optimize the our conference room both for in-room as well as for remote experience. As I told you before, 98% of the meeting is going to have a remote attendees. So we need to make sure our rooms are optimized for both, and we need to make sure they everyone have their equal say. Another important factor from the hybrid workplace index is gauging their well-being. So normally in the past, employees are working from the office. As a manager, as a co-worker, you would always have this proximity and visual cues, right? You can pretty much understand or make kind of assumption like whether it was something bad with him or something not good with him. You know, some kind of a assumption, or you can understand, right, from your co-workers how they are behaving, how they are doing. But let's say the co-workers are no more working next to you. They may be working in the remote locations, or maybe work from home, or maybe from other place. You may not have a lot of kind of visual cues interaction. In that way we have to make sure that the proactive engagement is taking care of those factors. We have to make sure that they are not completely burnout, fatigued, or tired because of lots of virtual meetings, lot of hard work. So we need to make sure there is a work life balance for them. This is where technology is going to play an important factor to achieve that. Apart from that, as we see the hybrid work, it's not something a very simple to achieve. It has lot of multiple areas, and it's not just a problem like a software problem for IT to solve. It's kind of a requires a cultural shift, technology shift, and leadership shift. So basically the IT team would be planning to make some reconfiguration changes. the IT team, the HR team would be looking for well-being of an employee, how the hybrid workplace is impacting the employees in terms of retention, in terms of well-being, in terms of hiring, recruitment, everything, and the facilities team. So facility teams would be already, making some kind of real estate changes to accommodate the hybrid work. People, maybe doing a hot desking and all those stuff. So all these three teams coming together, and you may have already experienced in your organization also that we have IT, HR, and the facility team coming together to make some changes so the employees can return work safely. So this is how the hybrid work it is, and it cannot be solved by one team or one person. So based on this, what I thought, it is not very simple, right? It has a lot of factors and it has a lot of metrics. So how do we measure the success of this hybrid work? So we had, as a Cisco, had a lot of interaction with the partners and customers, and what they say that we have five characteristics which makes the hybrid work a very successful, and those are flexible, inclusive, supportive, secure, and manage. So flexible means it pretty much adapts to any work style, role, and environment. So your solution should be adaptive as per your user's requirement. It's not something the other way. It should be inclusive. That means anyone joining the meeting or anyone using the solution, whether they are in office, outside, anywhere, on any device, they should have the equal experience, right? And for everyone. Supportive in the sense the well-being of an employee focused on empathy, sympathy, and well-being. And the secure, as Cisco DNA says that we are secure by design, private by default. Security is inbuilt into our architecture. It's not something bolted on. And we have a lot of new enhancement in the features like DLP, like E2E, ethical vaults, which really makes the solution much more secure. And towards the end, it should be managed modern infrastructure, frictionless administration. Because if our IT administrators are having a very tough time, it would really become a nightmare for them to manage all this solution. And top of it, it should be easy to use by our end customers, and it should be frictionless experience for them. So that's how the five factors or five characteristics makes a hybrid solution a very successful one. So what we're going to do, we're going to take Cisco WebEx solution. We're going to tell you these are the innovations, features against these each of these characteristics and how Cisco is fulfilling that to achieve the successful hybrid work. So let's get started with that. So I'm going to start with the characteristics called flexible. So I want to explain you how Cisco WebEx is flexible. So this is, if you see in the screenshot, this is your WebEx app, your unified app for meetings, messaging, calling, pair and share, API integration, you just name it, every pretty much done from this single app. And this unified app pretty much works with your any type of deployment, whether it is your on-premises calling, cloud calling, hybrid, it pretty much works seamless. So here I want to give an example that I can use this app either on my laptop, Mac, iPhone, Android. I can be on my Wi-Fi, I can be on 4G, 5G connection, and pretty much I can be anywhere. Not just in office, I can be in the home, I can be on the way, commuting in the train. I can pretty much attend the training, attend the meetings, calls without any disruption. So this is how the app is flexible. And even if you're transitioning from, let's say you are on mobile with a meeting and you want to move out of the office, it would be a seamless transition from your Wi-Fi to your 4G or 5G network without disconnecting your meeting. You pretty much remain in the meeting. You don't need to rejoin the meeting. That's how the flexibility is. You can pretty much escalate a call to a meeting anytime. You don't have to, kind of cancel the call, schedule a meeting. You can pretty much escalate a call to a meeting on the spot instantly. So that's how the app is flexible for you guys. The other option is your custom layouts, right? So normally when I talk about WebEx, WebEx is not just a traditional video conference. You just schedule a call, you join, and you're done. No, we are more than that, and I'm going to explain you with our latest innovations and features. So here, one of the features I'm talking is the custom layout. So you get equal layout, you get grid layout. In our WebEx, we already have 5 by 5, which use around 25 participants in a single hub or single window, and you can scroll it to make more. But apart from that, we have the options of side by side. We can drag and drop. We can make the custom layout as per our requirement. And you know what? I can, if I want to concentrate on a specific person or specific speaker, I can pretty much drag and make it on the on the main stage to be having the main focus on that guy. And as a host, if I want to push this customized layout to all my attendees attending this meeting, I can pretty much do it with one click of a button. So what I am seeing, I want to make sure my attendees are also saying this, seeing the same thing. I can pretty much do that. There is nothing that I have to tell them you have to, do multiple changes. I just do it. I just push it to the attendees. They can they can see the same thing what I'm seeing. So that's how flexible it is. The other option is your audience engagement. So you would have heard Slido is now pretty much integrated with our WebEx solution, right? Now Slido is more of a help you to achieve a more engageful meetings, events, and even foster a more inclusive culture and build more meaningful connections. So basically, it allows six different types of type of interactive polls and moderated Q&A. It supports with the dynamic Q&A, polls, quizzes, word clouds, etc. So you can have the engagement before the start of meeting, during the meeting, and after the meeting. So your audience are always engaged with you, and everyone, with with one of the example I use most often in my meeting is the word cloud. So I can ask the guys like how you're feeling today, or what is your profile, and they just put their word into that, and I can pretty much see the maximum word with the bold letters. So that's how you are giving an option, an opportunity for all the attendees to have their equal say in the meeting, right? So this is how the Slido works. Apart from that, we have the socio. As you have heard about, during the pandemic, people were all forced to work from home. The events all became virtual events. They were not even physical events happening. So socio is one of the platform acquired by Cisco, is now complete part of the WebEx suite. It allows you to have the hybrid events. It's not just a kind of a presenter and panelist. It is more than that. So you can pretty much have the let's say you can have the options of advanced networking, event gamification, sponsorship, custom agenda building, and more. And you can pretty much have this hybrid setup where you can have a small kind of a auditorium. You can run your event and you have your local people joining the event. And if you want to have a global coverage, you can use this social platform to allow those people to join virtually. And even those people will have the full visibility of what is happening, different as what I told about sponsorship, gamification, networking, every information they can use it from the portal. Then after that, sorry on this. Yeah. And after that, we have this hybrid workspace. Now, hybrid workspace is basically all of your WebEx devices. So Cisco is the only vendor in the market who has its own meeting platform and its own WebEx devices portfolio tightly integrated in a kind of a WebEx ecosystem. If you go to any other vendor, you would have different vendors for meeting, different vendors for devices. That's where the solution is not so user friendly. Now with Cisco devices, you can have devices for different use styles or work style or maybe use cases. You can have devices, frontline WebEx 840, 860 devices where they can use with the Wi-Fi network and they can use the meetings used for healthcare sector and different scenarios. Then for the remote work employees, we they don't want to buy expensive devices. They can go with WebEx desk camera, with the WebEx headset, with active noise cancellation feature. And we have a lot of innovations announced recently in the WebEx one, where we have 320 model. We have our lot of new headsets were also announced. And as you know, we are already a lot of IP phone models of 88 series, 78 series. And apart from that, there is a WebEx Desk Hub, which is used for the hot desking scenario. And for the knowledge worker, we also have the Desk Pro, Desk, and Desk Mini. So Pro is kind of a 27-inch video endpoint with stylus capability, touchscreen, whiteboarding, annotation capabilities with 4K resolution. And if you go to the desk model, it's kind of a small version, 23-inch. It do allows the whiteboarding and all, but it's more of a 1080 pixel resolution. And then the latest is the desk mini with the cradle. You can take it and move it around your home. You can take it in your office anytime, and you can use it for both personal as well as professional work, right? And then we already have the WebEx Mode Pro series, room series endpoints with our codecs capability, which can be used for executive rooms, boardrooms, meeting rooms. So these are all devices which are, let's say, flexible from the user adoption. If they want a specific set of devices, Cisco have that solution in that their portfolio. So there is no something they have to spend a very lot of amount to achieve those level of video capability. They can pretty much achieve with a cheap amount, with a very economical budget. Let's say with the desk camera, they can achieve the video capability of 4K resolution also. So apart from that, as I told you, we are not just a video conference solution. We are more into a complete ecosystem. So we do provide APIs integration, where we can embed the WebEx solution inside the third-party product, or the third-party product itself can be embedded and opened or launched and operated from our WebEx app. We have a lot of simple examples where we have the Microsoft workload. We can have the Microsoft documents open from the WebEx app and vice versa. We can have the WebEx chat from the Word document or Excel documents. There are a lot of examples on that. Okay. Now, coming to the inclusive. So we covered pretty much on the flexibility. Now we're going to go to the inclusivity. So inclusive. Now, with the WebEx translation, real-time translation feature, what we are doing, we are removing any kind of a language barrier. We are removing any kind of a socioeconomic status. We are allowing global employees with different language to work in an organization. So how we are achieving that? So maybe if you see in the screenshot, I have an example of meeting running where the other remote attendees, they don't understand English, they understand Spanish. So when they are listening to the meeting content, they can pretty much do the live translation from English to the Spanish, and they can pretty much read everything in Spanish. And when they reply, they're going to reply in Spanish. And the party, the host, can change from Spanish to English so he can pretty much understand what the other guy is talking in Spanish. So this way, we are removing any kind of a barrier to have a meeting, right? So apart from that, we have the digital assistant, basically called the WebEx assistant for meeting, which allows you to do transcriptions. Transcription is something like subtitles happening at the bottom, which is now included free of cost. You can also take action items, notes, and have this content available to you at end of the meeting, which you can send it to your people in the meeting who have not joined or joined for any further action items. Apart from the recording, we have this complete transcription which can be used for any reference or action item. This is how powerful this WebEx meeting is. And the next feature which I would be talking is one of my favorite feature in WebEx, because this really allows me allows me to sit in my desk and that's it, run all the meetings. I don't care if my colleague is shouting or they are talking to someone on another mobile call. I'm pretty much confident that my voice is going to the other party. So here we have this active noise cancellation, which is a Babel Labs integration, which we did the acquisition. So we just removed the noise, right, using the artificial intelligence. But the enhancement which we did recently is the optimize your voice feature. So removing the noise is something, you remove the background noise. So if someone is running any motor and all, that voice is literally cut out. Let's say you're sitting in your office with around 50, 70 people next to you at their desk, and you're also sitting at their desk and you are running a meeting. You don't want other co-workers' voice to go to the meeting, right? So you can optimize your voice feature, which will literally cut down the voice of your co-workers. This way you will be more, kind of other, I mean, you would be more concentrating to the meeting rather than getting complaints that there is a noise background happening. So this is where the AI feature literally help us to achieve the meetings with active noise cancellation and optimized voice feature. The next feature I would be talking is the immersive share. So, you know that before this launch of feature, normally if you attend any WebEx meeting or event, the shared content and the presenter are shown side by side during the meeting, right? With immersive share, you can overlay your video content on top of the presentation. You can pretty much change the size, drag and drop it from anywhere on any location. So this helps us to achieve a more eye to eye contact where you able to show yourself and present the presentation just like you are watching any kind of a weather forecast reporting. So this literally helps to understand what you are talking and what presentation they are showing, and the viewers, the attendees, they would be achieved. Okay, you would be having eye to eye contact with them to get this, meeting concept which you're looking for. So after that, we're gonna be going to the supportive feature. In supportive feature, I'm gonna covering a single point here is a WebEx Insight. As I told you before, sympathy, empathy, the proximity cues, right? Remember what I talked initially. But being an employee, I want to check how much time I'm spending in connecting the meetings, in managing meetings, in the time spent in the meeting, as well as I want to see my goals if I'm able to achieve it in a day or not. This is where the WebEx Insight helps you to get all this information in a single page inside the WebEx app. You don't have to log into any other app. What exactly is achieved here is if I go to the WebEx Insight, I can see how much time I have spent today, how much time I have spent in the meetings, how quickly I'm able to join the meeting, how much time I'm putting on the focus work. So this really helps me to understand that I need to change, I need to do better thing to make my work life balance a more good balanced one. So this is how the WebEx Insight help us to achieve the time spent on the meetings, in the work, and you can decide whether you need to spend this much time or you need to cut down literally. Apart from that, we have another feature called WebEx Assistant for devices. Just like you have the Amazon devices, and you say, Alexa, please start the music or whatever, same approach. You enter into a meeting room, you just say, okay, WebEx, join the meeting. This is kind of a touchless operation. There are a lot of other options possible with this AI assistant feature of the devices. It just depends how you integrated the background. So this really helps us to achieve a touchless operation or touchless joining the meeting solution. And apart from that, I would like to say our devices are not like dumb devices kept in the room and they are just doing nothing when they are not in meeting. We are more than that. We are literally have a sensors. The sensors help us to understand the office occupancy, desk utilization, digital signage can also be one of the options. Wayfinding with the DNA spaces integration, and we can pretty much monitor the air quality, the temperature, and the humidity. This really helps us to understand whether we need to on the AC, whether we need to do some kind of a cleaning to make sure the next meeting the room is properly ready. So these all information is collected from the devices to the WebEx Control Hub, and the WebEx Control Hub you can have all the information. And through API integration, pretty much you can relay this information to the relevant servers as well. Now, from the supportive, we're going to jump to secure. So, how WebEx solution is secure? So, as I told you before, we are private by default. We have designed the WebEx solution in such a way that security is already inbuilt. We don't do security on top of the existing products, right? But with extended security pack, we understand there are a lot of use cases, right? So these use cases would be fulfilled with this extended security pack. For example, if you need an ethical walls are basically a solution which blocks internal communication. A simple example, in a large bank, you have the investment bankers and the company research analyst, and they shouldn't be talking to each other on the WebEx app. This is done by default by creating the policy inside the WebEx Control Hub, so they will never able to talk to each other. The policy itself denies that, and neither they would be added into the space which allows them to talk to each other. So this is where we are fulfilling this use case through use of ethical walls. Apart from that, one more interesting feature is zero trust. What exactly zero trust means that no one is trusted by default from inside or outside, and a verification is always required before someone try to join or gain the access to the meeting. So you have heard about end-to-end encryption. So when you talk about meetings or events or WebEx solution, data at rest and data at transit should be secured, encrypted, right? But how about the user identity? How you can ensure that the imposters stay out of the meetings? So I have a very simple solution, zero trust. That means if someone is joining the meeting and if they don't have existing WebEx org or their domain is not verified, simply they will be unverified status. And if there is a CEO or CIO level meeting happening or any finance meeting happening, and if someone joined with a guest not with verified identity, I can pretty much tell them to go out and join with the verified status, or I can pretty much expel them. This way, I can make sure that my critical confidential information is not shared with someone which I don't trust. And if they, so we have two status coming. One is the meeting security status, AES 256, another the user identity is showing as a verified or it is coming as a guest. So these are these latest innovations happening, and apart from that, we have a lot of other innovations like DLP, and now with Thatleaks we have real-time DLP. So instantly what will happen that if you put any kind of a document which is having PCI PHI information, that would be automatically deleted instantly in real time DLP scenario before even it's, other user is able to even see that message came. So this is how powerful this solution is. Apart from that, solution should be completely managed, right? So it should be a modern managed infrastructure. So for IT administrators, they get the access to the WebEx control hub where they can do the complete provisioning, onboarding users, configurations, troubleshooting, analytics, reports, the multiple services integration, all those things done at single place, which is a WebEx control hub. And this really helps our administrator to concentrate on the adoption rather than just troubleshooting or just playing with the solution with too much web interface to manage everything. So they can pretty much concentrate on the adoption. They can check how the adoption is going on, what they can do better for the adoption of the users services. And apart from that, our latest acquisition of Thousand Eyes, which is going to be integrated with our WebEx controller, which help us to give us a proactive visibility into the state of your network. So you have a critical meeting, it's going to be running in next 2 hours or next day. You can have the visibility, proactive visibility that whether I'm able to connect from this location to the data center of the WebEx where it's going to connect my meeting going to be hosted. If there is already an issue, I can always request an ISP to reroute my traffic, or already I have a multiple ISPs, I can reroute my traffic from my own end. So this proactive visibility into the state of network from inside to outside, outside to inside is provided by Thousand Eyes. And this really helps you to understand where is the outage, where is the problem. It is to your ISP, is it to any other point of presence, basically internet pop, or it is something at the provider level or at the vendor level. All this information is proactively available to you in the WebEx controller through the power of Thousand Eyes. So that's it, guys. Done from my side. I hope you have enjoyed my session. If you have any questions and concerns, please put your questions here. And there would be a quiz after this session. I request you guys to join the quiz and try to win some prizes. Thank you everyone for joining this session.
Raj,
Hi Raj, hi Jackie.
Was it
Thank
good
you.
or
No,
fell
no, it
short?
was good. It was really good.
Okay,
it was
thank
very
you.
good. Only error is, and that's I only picked up late because I was working on another tab,
Mhm.
was that the transitions didn't go through on your slide,
I am not sure which transition you're talking about.
all of them. So if you just go through onto the next slide
Ah,
on your slide for me.
I think so. It didn't went at all.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna have to. I don't know if we're gonna have time now. I don't know if we're gonna have time now to record because I've got another recording to do.
But something
Um,
interrupted, right? That this is not
yeah. But what we can do is we can overlay it, but we're just going to need your guidance on that.
okay. Okay, no problem.
What do you think, Schnabel?
I'm not sure how accurate that would be, Jackie. I think it's
Should
better
we
he
just
records again.
re-record? We're gonna have to re-record today sometime.
Yeah.
Let's do the other way. I think. See, I won't be able to spend so much time again in recording. To be honest, let's. I can guide you like which presentation
Or
to
Jackie,
play.
you can play Raj's video and he can tell you which slide to add for that part. We can do that now quickly.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can do that now quickly. I can share you the presentation.
Okay. Yeah, let's do that. Just a sec.
How do I share the presentation? Should I send an email or something?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can.
Jackie will give you her email ID and then you can send it to her on email.
Okay.